Hello there, and welcome to something a little bit different. Yes, it's Gran Turismo 2, but today I'm very honoured to be able to show you an in-development build of the upcoming Gran Turismo 2 Project A-Spec mod. Very kindly, one of the developers, Komputer, reached out to me in the public Discord and asked would I like to try this, and I know a little bit about Project A-Spec and I was very excited to go ahead and try this out. And if you know anything about Gran Turismo modding, you know why I was very excited. So, the way to think about this is very simple. If the Gran Turismo 2 Plus mod, which I'd consider the other big Gran Turismo 2 mod, and it's the one we use for the Hot Lap Classic Remastered, if that is Gran Turismo 2, if they were able to complete the game and add all the cut content to it, this is Gran Turismo 2 if it was like modern day Gran Turismo, where they can add cars to it via updates. Because, yeah, there's a lot of new content in this. To give you an idea, there's over 50 all-new cars added to this game, so we've got a lot to go through. Now let's start this off in the best possible way by just casually going to Renault, and there's the Renault Spider. Yeah, that's the level we're on here. That's very, very cool. Added to it. And eventually there's even going to be a Renault Spider one make race. This is going to add events eventually. It doesn't at this current point in development, but yeah, we've got an awful lot of cars to play around with, so let's just get onto it. Do you know what is quite cool? More Renault Spiders. This is a Renault Spider that raced in GT300. Because of course it did. Entered a couple of races, wasn't very successful, but it doesn't stop it being absolutely awesome. So this mod has more of a bias towards race cars, specifically adding a lot of GT500 and GT300 cars, which I think is a very good idea. There's also a couple of road cars added, as we saw, the Renault Spider, and there are going to be more. So, like I say, there's a lot of content here. And it's not just predictable stuff, it's weird stuff, like this. This is a Lancia 037 that competed in GT500. Showed up to one race in 1994, was never seen again, but still, it's here, and you can drive this in the GT500 races. If you really want to, you'll get slapped, but still, it's incredible. There's the aforementioned Renault Spider, the car born by Renault Sport, had a 2-litre Megane engine, very, very light car, very cool car. This was actually in the code for Gran Turismo 2, but they never made a body for it or anything, and now you can drive it as the developers once intended, and it's fantastic. And as you can see, one thing I'm really, really impressed with this mod is how good a job they've done on the models here, because Gran Turismo 2, when you think about it, it's actually quite a hard game when it comes to adding unique car models, because you've got a limited polygon count to work with, and also you've got to make them fit into the style of the other cars in this game. And I think that's one thing I'm really, like, maybe the thing I'm most impressed with Project A-Spec is how well they've managed to integrate these cars into the game. They've done a phenomenal job with it, as this Renault Spider is proof. I don't know if some of these cars had models elsewhere, or if they're all just built plainly from scratch, but they look absolutely terrific. And do you know what's even cooler than the Renault Spider? A race-modded Renault Spider. Yeah, this is a thing. This is actually based off the Renault Spider Trophy, which was like a one-make race series they did in the 90s, late 90s, a sports series for BTCC. Jason Plato actually won the first ever running of this. And then Andy Prio absolutely destroyed the series in 1999. There's loads of different colours for this. I will actually quickly show that off. Yeah, some of these cars actually have race mod, these new cars, which is really, really interesting and cool. As you can see there, all the different colours and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. The Renault Spider, for me, this is the pick of the mod, but there's definitely more stuff, and there's something for everyone in here. There's the Mazda 767B. It's not the 787B. That would be too obvious, so you get this. This was the precursor to the 787B. Not massively successful, but it's still very, very cool to have it in this game. And of course, because it's in this game and it's a Group C car, this is going to, I'd imagine, would be very, very quick for like the Gran Turismo World Championships and stuff. This is the Plymouth Fury, now the oldest car in the game. If you've ever wondered, you know, you really, really wanted a classic American car in the game, Now you can drive it, the Plymouth Fury, and it is as boaty as you would expect. Do you like the first gen Eclipse? We've got two of them. This is the Eclipse GT, the front wheel drive one with the awesome side graphics. But if you don't want front wheel drive, you want an all wheel drive Eclipse, there you go. Again, like I say, these do actually look like they integrate really, really well into the game. And they look like, you know, I think if you showed this mod to someone who's never played Gran Turismo 2 before and showed them like a few of the cars from the game and then showed them these, they'd just think they seamlessly fit in. It's brilliant. There's also some refinements to existing car models. So, for example, this is the Nismo 400R prototype, but now it's actually in the correct colour with the correct wheels, striped down the side of it, the grille on it as well. Very good stuff. Nissan Skyline GTR concept car. Why was this not in the game from standard? I'm actually shocked. This is the 1993, the precursor to the R33 car. Very, very cool. Camaro LM Edition. Some of these are sort of fantasy cars, or a few of them are anyway. This is one they've made up for the game, the Camaro LM Edition, using the race mod of the Camaro, but giving it, well, 725 horsepower. The Camaro with race mod in the standard game is pretty quick. This is ridiculous. I've driven this. This is absolutely exquisite to drive. Again, more weird stuff. This is a Toyota Chaser built for Super Silhouette, which never ended up happening. It is basically the race model of the Chaser, but this has got the actual racing decals on it, which is very, very cool. The McLaren F1. Naturally, as I said, something for everyone. But of course, because it's this mod, it can't just be the normal McLaren F1, which is in this game. This is a GTR version that ran in GT500. Brilliant. They won a race in 2003 with this. They kept it around for a while, but awesome livery. Love it. Le Mans winner, V12 LMR. This is actually the race modded one. This is the number 16, the art car. But if we go to the BMW dealer, we'll get to that. This is the V12 LMR. I actually forgot about that, so I'll talk to you about it in a second. But yeah, the V12 LMR, the Le Mans winning car. It's here now. It's cool. What might be cooler is this. I actually forgot about this. This is the BMW 840ci LM Edition. This is mental. 996 horsepower, 2,116 pounds of weight. It's quick. I'll show that off later, actually. That's the one car that How did I forget about that car? Of all of them. Brilliant. Ford Indigo. Of course, concept car from 1996, this, with IndyCar technology and a V12. Just Ford Indigo, innit? You can actually see that in the dealer, which is cool. Toyota Supra RMK Reiterman GT500. This competed at Le Mans, Fuji, 1,000 kilometer race. Very cool. Yeah, boy. This is the Peugeot 806 Super Touring, a legendary Super Tourer, this. 24 hours of Spa, running gear from Peugeot 405 Super Touring car. Absolutely fantastic. We will be driving that later. Peugeot 905, Peugeot's Group C car for 1991. Eventually this would turn into the 905B, but as I said before, that would be too obvious for this mod. So they put this version in. Brilliant. JLOC Lamborghini Diablo, of course, you know this from Gran Turismo 2. Oh, sorry, Gran Turismo 3, when they'd add this and then remove it. Which is probably the most exposure the JLOC Lamborghini got in its entire time in the series, because it wasn't very good. Lister Storm GTS, this is the race mod for the Lister Storm, but it's actually been turned into a proper car now, which is really, really cool. Nimrod. I had no idea what this was. This is apparently a Group C prototype with which was a collaboration between Nimrod Racing and Aston Martin. Naturally, because it's British, it went bankrupt in the end. Chassis by Lola. Interesting thing. Once again, another sort of rework of an existing model. This is the CLK DTM, which is sort of a show car ahead of the 2000 DTM season. That's what it's been changed into. But they've done a really, really good job of adjusting the stats to make it like a 2000s DTM Tourer, and also just adjusting the body. I know that rear bumper's completely unique. Do you want Porsches in Gran Turismo? You've got Porsches in Gran Turismo. And naturally, of course, it's a GT300 Porsche, this. The STP Taisan car. I believe this might have been the sister car to the Viper Taisan, which we already have in the game. yeah, very, very cool. This was a late edition in the 99 season, but still very cool. The Dome Zero, naturally. Very weird concept car, this. Obviously, you know it from later Gran Turismos. Designed to be a race car for the road, but never approved for sale because, look at it. Mini Cooper R50 concept. This was something I didn't even know existed. This is based on one of the R50 concepts from 1997. There was many of these. I thought this car was later. Apparently it isn't. It actually uses the chassis from a Fiat Punto, which is interesting. And they've actually reflected that in-game. This is a 1.4 litre turbocharged 128 brake horsepower. So I believe this actually uses the engine from a Punto GT, which is fascinating. Esso Tiger Supra. I don't know why this wasn't in the game already, because it's got a very, very cool livery. Fun fact about this one. This is one of the race cars that you can actually turn into something else. By just going to the racing modification, you can turn it into a car that I think competed in Fuji in '99. So yeah, interesting stuff there. FK Massimo GT500. This was actually the twin car to the CDMA 1 Supra, which we'll get to later, but was actually more successful than that car. So why was this not in the game and we got that weird CDMA 1 Supra with the horrible livery? I have no idea. New GT300 Celica. This is the Cossier one. End up getting overshadowed by the Wed Sport car. This is another fun one where you can turn it into the Autolet GT300 Supra, which is very, very cool. So it's based on the original debut version with the angry eyes on the headlights, naturally. You do actually have to do racing weight reduction to these. I don't think it actually reduces the weight, and also, as you can see, it's very, very cheap. And then, yeah, there you go. And now you can get... And it changes the name as well. That's really, really cool. I didn't know that. Autolet Tom Celica. There you go. Chevy Cavalier. Or should I say Toyota Cavalier. 1997 competitor. Not very good, it has to be said. But yeah, it's in the game because it's different and it's unique, isn't it? BMW JGTC car. I have no idea why this wasn't in the game from standard. BP Trampio. BMW 318i. Sorry. They used it over 3 seasons, wasn't massively successful, and then they upgraded to a McLaren F1 eventually. The Bitter, like, yeah, we get really obscure stuff now. This is a Lotus Elise GT1 that the Dutchies thought they could improve, and they couldn't, so they put different bodywork in it, including the rear lights from Peugeot 406, which, chef kiss. And it has a Viper V10 in it, and it was crap. But it's here, and you can drive it, and you can push it to success. Another GT300 car, this is the RX-7. I don't think we have any RX-7 GT300 cars in the base game, so this is interesting. This car was actually built for a series in New Zealand, but still competitive in 1999. Not massively so, but still. This was another really fun thing, is because all the cars in this mod are actually quite obscure, it's really fun finding out information about it, and of course I want to thank... both Komputer for giving me some insight on these cars, as well as my resident race car nerd, Jeracer, who helped figure out what some of these cars were and what they did and so on. Castrol Racing GT300. This was a privateer built by Ari Sugiyama, raced in 96 and 97. Yeah, cool stuff. Renault Alpine, one of the first prototype race cars, I think, ever, and looking at it, it certainly is unique and experimental. This actually won Le Mans at one point in 1978, so that's quite cool, and then that got abandoned because Renault did the F1 thing, but still very, very cool. The actual McLaren F1 GTR, the BMW Motorsport one, very, very cool. Of course, you know this car from the later Gran Turismo games. A Mitsubishi Mirage. I didn't know this raced in GT300. It did, apparently. It's a converted cup car. It DNF'd at Fuji. That's the most it ever did. I think the ride height on this one might be a little bit high, but still very, very cool indeed. An Alfa Romeo race car that dominated the 1975 World Sports Car Championship. Naturally. Very cool there. Endless Advan Skyline. You sort of know this as the race mod for one of the R34s in the game, but now it's on the actual correct R33, and wasn't very good, but it's there. Speaking of not very good, this is a GT300 Nissan Skyline Hiriano BP GTSM. It's an RB20 powered R32 GTS. Debuted in 96, appeared in 99, and it was incredibly slow and never qualified. Maybe you can push it to success. Or maybe you can push the Alta Racing Team Silvia. This one's got quite a funky livery on it. This is an S14 based off the GT300 winning car from 97, and it wasn't very competitive because it's an S14. Speaking of not very competitive S14s, this is the IR-Tech Silvia, which, again, not very good, as you can tell by the fact it has no sponsors. This one's really interesting. This is a Roof CTR2 Sport Pikes Edition. I had no idea this was a thing. Apparently, some guy in the US decided that a roof would be a really cool idea to take up the 1997 Pikes Peak Hill Climb event, and he did. He placed first in qualifying, second place and fourth place in the actual event. What a lad. It ended up winning the Virginia Hill Climb 3 times, I think, as well. So, yeah, this was an actual car. Very, very awesome. Although, if you want Pikes Peak cars, you definitely want to be taking a look at the 1998 Toyota Tacoma Pikes Peak version. This won Le Mans in 1998. Not the Escudo. This, which is incredible. I had no idea what this was. This is the Cintura S99. It's powered by a Judd V10, competed in British GT. They tried to enter Le Mans twice. It wasn't massively successful, but it's different, isn't it? Lister Storm is sponsored by Newcastle United. Naturally. This is the one that won the 1999 British GT Championship in controversial fashion. Also, you might notice it's a Lister Storm with the actual correct weight figures. One thing I haven't been mentioning, actually, these GT500 and GT300 cars, you might be looking at the statistics and thinking, they look a little bit down. That's because one cool thing of this mod is they actually go ahead and fix the figures for the GT500 cars. So they actually are somewhat realistic. You might remember this Nismo GTR in the base game has all-wheel drive and like 700 horsepower. Here it doesn't. They've actually correctly done that. And all the AI cars have had that done as well. So that should mean you get more interesting races in the GT500 Championship, where before the R34s would just sort of piss off into the distance and the NSXs weren't very good. Now you'll get closer racing. This one's really cool. I love the livery on this one. It's the other Tom Supra, the one that wasn't as successful, but still very cool. This one's interesting. This is a Ford Taurus stock car. So you might remember the Taurus in the base game. The racing modification changes it into like a NASCAR. But obviously it's still front-wheel drive and hopeless. Well, this turns it into a proper stock car. 810 horsepower, 3,300 pounds. Cool thing with this one is you can have that base livery, which I actually do quite like. Or you can go for the Mark Martin livery if you so desire. So that's really, really cool. I think they've changed the wheels on that as well, because I don't remember them being those wheels. This is an interesting one, a car that was deleted from the base game, C-Class DTM. This was supposed to sit alongside the Vauxhall Calibra and the Alfa Romeo 155, and didn't in the end, but now it's here. This was actually a placeholder with the Primera race mod body, the only placeholder in the game which had a model that wasn't the Altezza, which is interesting. But yeah, you can actually drive this in the game now, and it's quite a lot of fun. Some road cars / concept cars here. The Peugeot Oxia, an absolute classic. This is in the special dealers, which I'll show that off in a bit. That's a really cool feature. Yeah, 1988, 868 horsepower. Interesting looking thing. Alfa Romeo Sicaria, I think it is. 1997. This was actually a functional car. This worked. Had the all-wheel drive system for a 155, twin-turbo V6. They were going to race this, and then they didn't, which is a big shame, because it's very, very cool looking. Vector's last ever car, the SR V8. This was going to replace the M12, but it used the GM V8 in it, and the company went bankrupt after building one of them. But that one of them is here, and you can play around with it, and that's a pretty awesome car. No introduction, Plymouth Prowler. As we know, the slightly, what could have been car Plymouth made. V6, auto transmission. What could have been? Well, what could have been is the Plymouth Howler. This was shown off at SEMA in 1999, apparently. This has a V8 in it, and trunk space on a hardtop. So that's cool. Mazda RX 500. Mazda's birthday present to itself. Weird car, this. It's got lights to show it's slowing down and speeding up. I don't think it has those in the mod, but still cool. Roof BR2. This is also in the GT2 Plus mod. It's a roof-tuned 911, basically. And this is the Roof CR4, which is four-wheel drive, naturally aspirated. Very cool. Opel and Vauxhall versions of the 2-litre Vectra. Again, these are in Plus mod. However, I actually prefer the way these are handled in this game because they're just in the dealership and you can just buy them. They're not a prize car, which is really cool. And Opel, they've replaced the 2.5 GSI with this because the 2.5 GSI wasn't a real car, which is cool. AMG C55. This one's well documented. This car was cut during development for whatever reason. They decided to go with only the C43, maybe to make the E55 stand out. It's a C43 with a 5.5 litre V8. Very cool. SLK 320. I have no idea if this was cut content or not, but it is a very cool addition. We've got the 230 in the game, but this is the 320 with a bit more power. This is something I really, really like. The Vauxhall ice race car and the Calibra DTM car, both of those have now had changes to make them actually look like Vauxhall versions. So this is somewhat based off the touring car livery from BTCC. This is a really, really cool addition because obviously in the base game, I will show this off. In the base game, it just sort of looks like that, and it just has Vauxhall logos on it, and it's the same with the Calibra. But here, they've actually liveried this one, which is cool. And this one has a proper Vauxhall grille on it, which is cool. I think this is actually based off a real car that raced at Brands Hatch. They had like a flyaway race in one of the DTM seasons, and this car showed up, which is cool. Some text changes for you. This is the Alpha 155 DTM, now with the correct livery on it as well. This is the actual DTM livery. In the base game, you might recall the livery for this uses the livery from the BTCC car from 1994, and the race mod of the 155 uses the DTM livery. They've swapped that around in this one now, which is cool. Citroen Zara, there's more colour options now, and they've moved the wing, so this is like it was in the alpha versions of the game. This is one of my favourite changes, Shelby Series 1. The Shelby Series 1 actually has different colours now, which is awesome. I hate just having the silver or red stripes. This you can actually play around with all the different colours, which is awesome stuff. It makes me actually want to use the Series 1. And here's another cool one. The Vectra M12 LM Edition's actually just been turned into its normal car. The GT2 American Spirit. This competed twice in 1998 and failed spectacularly because it's a Vector, but it's still cool. Some small changes. When you race mod the Nissan Primera, you get a different car logo, which is really, really cool. I really want to use that for the Hot Lap Classic, but I think I'll just have to stick with the one you get in the Plus mod, which is a shame. As you can see, some of these lesser changes, but Mondeo Super Touring car. 155 Super Touring, as you can see, it's now got the BTCC livery. There's a bit of a weird mirroring issue there. I'm sure that'll get fixed for one of the releases. Laguna Super Touring. I do hope they make the proper 1999 BTCC livery. That'd be cool. A4 Quattro Super Touring. This is another one that's got a custom logo, which is awesome. The SO Ultron Team Peugeot 406. Also converted to SO logos, which were not in this game. So you might notice this is actually the North American release of the game. For that's the build they're using to build their mod on top of. And so they've turned that to an SO car, which is cool. Calsonic Primera. I assume eventually that's going to have proper Calsonic logos all over it, which is cool. The Chaser, SO's Tom's Chaser. I believe that raced in JTCC. So that's a different logo thing. Toyota Teams Tom Corona Exiv, which is cool. And this one is interesting as well. I actually forgot about this one, and then Komputer reminded me. This is the Supra. You might know the Sedma 1 Supra. It's already in the game. However, they actually used the wrong bodywork for this car in the base game. They used the 99 spec bodywork when actually this raced on 98 spec bodywork. So there you go. And if you want the 99 spec bodywork back, all you have to do, race mod. And there you go. You can get the actual updated car, which is awesome stuff. So yeah, there you go. That's enough rambling. Let's go drive some cars. Yeah, I actually completely forgot about this 840 Ci Elm edition, so I'll buy that. We'll use that later. So yeah, let's go race. Let's go use the Renault Spider, because that's awesome. We'll take it into the Sunday Cup. So yeah, that's, as you can see, that's an exhaustive list of cars. That is, as I count, 77 cars that have had some changes to them. And bear in mind, there might even be more than that, because even the mods creator forgets how much stuff has actually been added to this game, which is awesome. It's truly a testament to them, how well they've managed to integrate all this content and how much content they actually have, to the point, like I say, they've forgotten how much they have. That's awesome stuff. I love it. Yeah, this is a really cool mod. And I do, like I say, check out the trailer, check out the Discord for updates on the mod. And once again, very much thanks to Komputer and the entire development team of the Project A-Spec mod for giving me the honour to showcase this mod for you, because it's awesome. And the cool thing as well is these cars, they drive like they're supposed to in GT2. This drives as you would expect it to. It is awesome because it's a Renault Spider. Unfortunately, not too many events for this to really compete in, but I'm sure when you modify this, it will be good. I'm not doing any engine modifications to these cars. As I mentioned, this is a in development build, so obviously there's still some things to improve upon. I'm sure these cars do have sort of power upgrades and stuff, because they've done a really good job with that sort of stuff, but I know certain cars don't, so I won't show that off. But it's, to be honest with you, for a mod that adds as much as it does, even at this stage in development, which, as I said, this is an in development build, the amount of crashes and stuff you get is virtually non-existent. I think the only consistent issue I've had thus far is with one of the one-make races for the Sylvia. I think it's trying to load something that isn't in the game, but in fairness, I don't even think that's the mod developer's fault. I think it's just trying to load a car from the Japanese version or something, so. But no, it's absolutely, like I say, it's awesome, and I do recommend following those guys, keeping up to date with everything about this mod, and yeah, it's cool. Another thing I really like, which I'll show off as well, is a lot of these cars, unlike GT2 Plus, a lot of these cars are actually in the dealers, which is really cool. And like with GT2 Plus, a lot of these cars are prize cars as well for various events, so it really adds some level of accomplishment to like the one make races and the national series, which often the national series, when you're playing the actual base game, often feels pointless, redundant, like there's no point because you don't win any prize cars or anything for it. But here you do, which is really cool, or at least for the most part, for most of the events actually. What should we drive next? I'll be making more videos on this as well, so don't worry if you don't see a particular car that you want showcasing now. We've got to drive the Peugeot, haven't we? So don't be too worried if you see a car. Controller just went weird there. We'll do the French Nationals, sod it. Sorry, it's more Tahiti Road gameplay, but I like Tahiti Road. Yeah, so as I mentioned, if you don't see something used in this video that you want to see, definitely let me know. The camera on this one is hilarious. Yeah, definitely let me know in the comment section what more you'd like showcasing on Project A-Spec. You know, I'd really want to play around with this mod some more, and hopefully you know, I can do this video and then later on I can show you some more updates as the mod progresses, which would be really cool. But yeah, let them know, let everyone know that you want to see more of this mod, and then hopefully we can start showing off some more of it. But yeah, it's awesome. I think the other cool thing with this mod as well is that you can tell the amount of dedication and passion to it, and you can tell the guys working on this mod, they don't want to rush through and release something that just isn't up to par. They really want to release a proper quality product, and they're not, you know, as much as it's taking its time, it's because they genuinely want to make this as good as possible for the fans. So I think that's awesome. I think we're in such a cool state with Gran Turismo modding where stuff like this is possible. Like GT2 Plus, I love GT2 Plus, and I love what the works, PES 2K and all these guys have done. But I think the fact that you can now add completely custom content to the game like that's amazing. You know, it's absolutely amazing. And for it to happen to Gran Turismo 2, which is, I'll go on record, this is my favourite game of all time. It's awesome. Would it be nice to see people add stuff to Gran Turismo 4? Yeah, and I'm sure eventually one day we might get to that point. But, you know, for me, GT2 is the game, and I vibe with all this content. I think the other really awesome thing with this mod is they haven't been carried away. Like, yeah, they could add, like, what's a modern car? First modern car that comes to mind. The Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio thing. Like, they could add that to the game, but they're not going to because, you know, like, they want to keep it time period correct. They still want to keep this feeling like a game that was released in '99, and I think that's awesome. Really, that was a lot quicker than the Renault Spider. A little bit limited on the gearing, but yeah, awesome car to drive that. Yeah, really, really cool. But yeah, that's what I really like about it, is you can tell this is a proper... we're gonna win a prize car? Yeah, we do. You can tell this is like a properly well done, well thought out mod. That's not just, you know, running away with it, like they're actually doing fun stuff. Yeah, that's where you get the 905 from, which we showed later. Should we play around with the mad BMW? Let's do a race with this mental thing. I have no idea what to race this in, to be honest with you. Do you know what? The Clubman Cup's free. Let's go drive it around the Clubman Cup. Let's show off a different track as well. I don't know if that's the plan later on, if they're going to like start adding new tracks and stuff to it. This is a wide boy. This is a very, very wide boy, as you can see. I like the rear light design as well. That's really, really cool. Yeah. I always felt it was a bit of a missed opportunity for BMW not to have any race cars in this game, like any cool LM editions or anything. So I'm pleased they can drop one in. And the fact is the 8 Series as well. The 8 Series is a very cool car. God knows what's powering this thing, but yeah, as you can see, it is mighty, mighty fast, which is awesome. Yeah, it is really cool to see like stuff like this. Like I say, it's not just limited to race content, it's not just limited to fixing like the GT500 championship and stuff. There's also awesome stuff like this where they're custom making LM editions and like logos from scratch and stuff. It's really, really cool. There's probably like cars I've forgotten about, in all honesty, and like I say, that's why we should. We are going to be doing more content with this mod, so like I say, if there's anything you want to see specifically, if there's anything the developers would like to see me showcase specifically, yeah, go ahead, leave it in the comment section. And yeah, like I say, awesome stuff. I'm very appreciative to the guys like me. Go ahead and showcase this mod, because like I say, this is a fun one. This is one that I definitely am enjoying checking out for the first time. Gotta be careful not to make this video file too big, because of course I'm playing this in 4K, because of course I am. Naturally. What should we do next? Let's drive the Tacoma. That's also mental. Wherever that is. We'll drive the Tacoma, and then I think we'll drive the McLaren F1, and then we'll call it for today. We'll do the downhill. against the Stratos. The Stratos will break because I'm using a 60 FPS patch for this. To be honest with you, that's another thing I'm really, really impressed with. Is I run Gran Turismo 2 with, as you can see there, I run Gran Turismo 2 with a lot of the cheats very kindly made by Silent in order to sort of make the game play a bit better on modern systems and take advantage of the newer hardware and stuff. And this copes with it flawlessly. And the other thing is it really stands up to the upscaling as well. You know, I think there's models in this mod that genuinely have better, nicer textures than ones created elsewhere. I think the only really indication that some of this mod, some of this stuff is custom content is like in the dealerships with the thumbnails. You might have seen it with the Renault Spider. They're a little bit matte looking, there's no reflections, but honestly I don't even think that's anything the developers can really do much about, so. And if they can, then sweet. But yeah, this is cool. I will say the Escudo is a little bit nicer to drive, but then again I think the Escudo is probably more unrealistic than this is, because that's the other... They've really tried to keep an eye in when it comes to realism in this mod. And like I say, with the Escudo in the base game, it is not very realistic. Like, it's the quickest race car in the game. This one, you get a little bit of sort of suspension dive under throttle, which is cool. It's only a 5-speed, it's not as quick as the Escudo, but it does have more power. I'm sure if you tune this thing, it definitely could be. Quite surprising this wasn't in the game, really. I guess, well, I would say Japanese pride by making the Suzuki the one Pikes Peak car in this game, but or two of the Pikes Peak car in this game. But no, this is Japanese as well. I have no idea. That was fast, that was fun. I love Pikes Peak in this game. Really good to sort of slam the vehicles around in. Yeah, cool. Alright, let's go drive that McLaren. Because why not? How can you not want to drive a McLaren F1, which is up here somewhere there. I'll drive the sock one, because it's got my favourite livery on it. Sod it, we'll do Rome again. Might do another race after this. That's the problem. This mod, like, it's just so full of content, you just want to keep driving with it. I think I've put well over 10 hours at this point into this mod, and I only got like the build for it on Thursday night, I think, and now it's Sunday. So I've been putting some hours into this. It's been a lot of fun, just sort of discovering the new content and playing around with it. I have to say, as this video here is sort of acting as a bit of a sort of preview, sort of a bit of a taster, so I can show you what's in this mod. But the one thing I can absolutely guarantee you about this mod is I've driven almost all the cars in it, and they're all fantastic. You know, they really are, like, the physics and everything. It does feel natural. I think the only one that feels a little bit weird is the Fury, because the Fury drives exactly as you'd expect, and I feel like if the Fury was in the base game, the Fury probably, like, wouldn't have such a leany, rolly suspension, but, you know, honestly, that's a good thing. It was really, really hard to win a race with that Plymouth Fury. Yeah, it leans, it bucks and leans. I might show that actually as well. See, this is the problem. There's so much stuff to show off and play around with. It's awesome. But yeah, I highly recommend keeping an eye on this mod, because this one, this could be very, very big indeed. It's already big. Lots of fans clamouring for this mod, which is why I feel almost guilty about the fact that I've very graciously been given access to this, so thank you very much once again. It's nice driving the McLaren F1 in this game. It drives exactly as you would expect it to. In case you're wondering if have I entered this race with too much power, I'm not sure. Because I really couldn't be asked to do the licenses, I've gone through and actually I've actually gone ahead and just used the code that just allows me to race any car on any track, no matter the limitations, because I just really didn't want to do the licenses again. I've already done the licenses once in GT2 recently, so I don't want to do that again. for my save for the Hot Lap Classic Remastered. I should actually note right now that currently speaking, this does not have a arcade mode. It's currently only for GT mode, so while it's in development it won't be. So please do not recommend any cars from this mod for the Hot Lap Classic, because I can't use them. I can't play around with them. So yeah, don't do that. But I'm sure eventually, once this mod is fully released and functional, it'll work with arcade mode, and then yeah, I'm sure we'll fair game after that. Look, don't increase my workload, lads. I've already got 642 cars to drive around Motorsports Land, and with this mod I'll probably be like, well, almost at 700 cars. So yeah, don't increase my workload just yet. Give it a couple of years. But yeah, sure. I mean, if we're still here, we'll definitely throw some of these around, because I'd be curious. That does mean retesting all the GT500 cars though with the new stats, which isn't so much fun. But yeah, it's cool, and it's really cool. It's awesome to see how Gran Turismo 2 modding's really just, it went below the radar a little bit. Like, I remember murmurings of being able to tweak car models. Yeah, I think in like 2019, one of the old server members, LRC, was playing around with it, and now all of a sudden we're up to the point where we've got like fully fledged, like total conversions like this, which is awesome. I did destroy the pack there, but that's mainly because I'm driving a McLaren fucking F1, so. We're going to get a prize car. That's not exclusive to the mod, so we'll leave that one. Do you know what? I think it would be a shame not to do some sort of GT race. See, there you go. There's the QR33, and it even has changed stats. What GT300 car do we want to drive? The Cavalier's tempting. Should we drive the Porsche? Sod it, let's drive the Porsche. I'll stick it in the GT300 Championship. I'm only going to do one race. Oh, that's cool. I didn't even realise that. They've changed the horsepower limits for these. That's really cool. So that, yeah, they've changed the horsepower limits so you don't actually end up in a situation where you're making too much power. So, naturally, the game hasn't spawned. Right, let's try that again. Let's see if we can get the game to spawn a couple more new cars. You can see the Mirage there, though. Yeah, there we go. There's a couple more now. We've got the Cavalier, the Mirage, and the Rotary RX-7 as well, which is awesome. Don't expect these guys to be particularly quick compared to my 911. The RX-7's just completely off, as it usually would do. Oop, there we go. This is actually a lot more difficult now, having less power, being able to win this race. This is going to be interesting. But yeah, it's awesome to have all this stuff. And I feel like this is one... This is, as we've seen from like the text-only files and stuff, Polyphony had massive plans for the JGTC side of this game. You know, we've seen that they really wanted to... I haven't changed the tyres on this, maybe that was the play here, to make me not look as bad. But yeah, they were really going to flesh out the GT500 and GT300 categories. There were supposed to be Porsches and Ferraris and all sorts. That's the one thing that isn't in this mod yet, Ferraris. I don't know if there's any plans to add Ferraris. Maybe they think that's going to be too obvious, in which case I wouldn't blame them. But yeah, this Porsche, I drove this for something and I wasn't particularly impressed with the handling on it. I'm not, I should state, not particularly impressed is like not anything bad about the mod. It's just the fact that this is now with the rebalanced GT300 class. I think this is actually quite a heavy car. It's one of the most powerful, but it very much does drive like all the weights over the rear, which is interesting. So I don't know if they're planning on adding more of these 911s or not. I'd really love to see like a 993, because that's my preferred generation of 911. But again, maybe that's too obvious for them. I know they do requests and stuff, so that's all in the Discord if you want to check out the Discord. That wasn't intentional. I don't know if you heard that or not. That wasn't intentional for the Discord notification to pop up while I'm doing this, but yeah, there you go. We've got the Wed Sports Celica. I think that actually won GT300 this year, 99, so... But that was really cool. The Mirage is at the back, where it should be. As is the Cavalier, to be fair. I think the Cavalier might be slightly down on power, being a 97. And the Mirage is just... Well, as previously mentioned, the Mirage is just terrible. So... Ooh. I'm going to go through there. We're getting close. I really like this livery on this car as well. I'd actually argue... I think the one thing they've really done with this mod that I like is they've added far more interesting liveries than the base game cars. Because the base game GT300 cars, like outside of like the Cusco Impreza and the Trampio FTO, they're not the most interesting of liveries in the world. Alright, 2 laps to go. Can we get close to the Celica? That Celica's really nice handling, to be fair. He's ran a bit wide though. But this is another cool thing with the mod. Definitely is they've really made these GT300 and GT500 races far more interesting now. Because before, like in the base game, I'd just load up with the Celica or the FTO and just piss off to the front with like all the power I had. But now I haven't got, you know, all that much power on my side. Well, I have it in the case of this 911, but I've also got crashing into a wall. Nice. Yeah, like it is quite cool. They've actually made these races quite close and quite tense, almost like it's going to be an actual championship now, as opposed to just you know, just win with whatever championship. And also the lesser horsepower restrictions mean that often your best car will be a GT300. There we go. Anyways, I'm not a sole loser. That was a GT300. I kind of want to play with a GT500 as well. See, this is the problem, is I can't just let this mod... I can't just let this video end. I have to keep playing with stuff. Yeah. It's cool, isn't it? We've already driven that F1. JLOC Lambo. Sod it. Why not? I will drive this, and then that will be it. We'll end the video here. And like I say, if you've got any suggestions... Oh, there you go. There we go. We got a proper nice field here. The sock McLaren. And another Diablo. It depends on this Diablo had a friend once. Gotta get past the SO and all that. We've got the championship winning Pennzoil and the classic Castrol. But that's really cool, isn't it? You've got like the classic JGCC cars, which everyone knows from this game, and then we can chase them down in our Lamborghini Diablo. But yeah, if there's anything specifically you'd like to see from this mod, then absolutely tell me down below in the comment section. I'll do it. I mean, we could do challenges and all sorts with it, really. Don't challenge me to full game runs or anything. I'm not that good. But yeah, definitely. I mean, we could do a couple of GT300 championships or something. Do an entire run with the 806, because that thing's baller. See, there you go. Much like with, I'm the reverse of the real-life JLOC team. The real-life JLOC team, you know, they weren't very good in GT500. As soon as they went to GT300, they won a race. Me, I'm terrible in GT300. As soon as I get my hands on... Oh. Yeah, maybe the purpose-built GT300 cars are still better than be in this one. In case you're wondering, this was another texturing car. I think the JLOC Lambos were supposed to feature in this game as well, but never did in the end. It's cool though, isn't it? Yeah, it is pretty awesome. So yeah, I won't finish that race, but yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's pretty much it for this episode. But like I said, there is plenty more in this mod. So as I've said several times throughout the video, I'll say it again. Please, please, please make sure to check out the trailer for this mod. It is absolutely exquisite. There's also videos from various other guys as well who've had preview builds to this mod as well. But yeah, please check out the trailer, check out their Discord, give these guys some love, because they've certainly given this mod some love, and it's absolutely awesome to see. So thank you all very much for watching. Stay tuned for potentially some more Project A-Spec and the Hot Lap Classic and the Let's Plays and all the other things I do. Yeah, thank you all very much for watching. Until next time, farewell.